For all your t-shirt needs, check out TeePublic's Killer Selection. Follow the link in the description. Hey, what's up, people? Pizzal here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Friday the 13th Part 3, the Memoriam documentary. Now, earlier this year over on the Sausage Factory being a live streaming movie discussion show that I do with a bunch of other really cool YouTubers, and we are about to launch into our 6th season of the show, so I'll put a link in the description. Go over and check out the Sausage Factory's YouTube channel. But earlier this year, we did a 35th anniversary live commentary for Friday the 13th, Part 3, with special guests Peter Bracke, author of the book Crystal Lake Memories, and Sean Richards, the writer and producer of Friday the 13th Part 3, the Memoriam documentary. And during that show, Mr. Richards discussed the documentary, why he wanted to make the documentary, and it sounded like a really cool project. Now, a couple of days ago, Mr. Richards reached out to me. He sent me a link to check out the completed documentary, and I really liked it. Now, Friday the 13th, the Memoriam documentary is really partly a making-of documentary about Friday the 13th Part 3, in which they interview Paul Kratka, who also hosts the documentary, Tracy Savage, David Kadams, and Larry Zerner, and they talk about the making of the film, all the problems that shooting the film in 3D presented, how time-consuming it was, a lot of the obstacles that they had to overcome to make the film, the set, which unfortunately burnt down several years ago, and what added insult to injury was the vandal who inadvertently burnt the Higgins Haven cabin down, then went on a popular Friday the 13th website and boasted about it. They discuss how the hockey mask was introduced into the movie and it's now iconic status. So just as a Friday the 13th Part 3 making of documentary, it's a pretty nice Friday the 13th Part 3 making of documentary. However, on the other hand, Friday the 13th Part 3, the Memoriam documentary, is also a really nice, moving tribute to Richard Brooker, who played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 3. And now I've discovered from my many, many years of being a diehard Friday the 13th fan that when it comes to who is your favorite Jason performer, there's really two camps. You're either a Kane Hodder guy or you're a Richard Brooker guy. And now a lot of the Richard Brooker guys that I've met over the years are really hardcore about being Richard Brooker guys. And what I've always thought was interesting about the Brooker versus Kane Hodder debate is that Richard Brooker only played Jason in one movie, in Friday the 13th Part 3, whereas Kane Hodder played Jason in 4 Friday the 13th films. However, Brooker's portrayal of Jason left such an indelible impact on the fans that he is as heralded as he is among the pantheon of Jason performers. They interview the Friday the 13th Part 3 cast, who all discuss working with Richard Brooker and what kind of person he was like, but they also interview people like C.J. Graham, who played Jason in Part 6, Dick Whean, who played Roy in Part 5, Carolyn Williams, Eileen Dietz, Adrienne King, Alice from the first film, and they all discuss what kind of person Richard Brooker was. And I learned a lot about Richard Brooker from this documentary. Like, I knew that before he became an actor, he was an acrobat. But I had no idea that later on in his life, he became a producer, he became a director. He even won an Emmy for inventing a device that has something to do with audio synchronization. I have no idea. Harry Manfredini tried to explain it in the documentary. And if Harry Manfredini doesn't quite understand things having to do with audio, then it's clearly outside my realm of knowledge. But I had no idea just how much of a Renaissance man Richard Brooker was. So if you are a Brooker guy, you will love this documentary, because of this really nice, moving tribute to Richard Brooker. Now, the documentary is only just over 37 minutes in length. It is kind of rough around the edges here and there. However, you can tell that this was a documentary made by fans, for the fans, out of love and admiration, not just for Friday the 13th Part 3, but for the entire series. And I think we've all seen documentaries either about a single entry in the series or the series as a whole that have not been made out of love and have clearly not been made by fans of the series. I won't name names. His name was Jason. But Friday the 13th Part 3, the Memoriam documentary, was definitely made out of love and admiration for Friday the 13th Part 3 and for just the Friday the 13th series as a whole, I do believe. And because of that, I highly recommend it. I don't know when the documentary will be made public, but I'll put links to the documentary, social media links, in the description so you guys can stay abreast of all the developing news in the world of Friday the 13th Part 3, the Memoriam documentary. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.